Hi, this is Hope, and this is my summary of Chapter 5, Research Design. So with research design, we're really looking at how we're going to collect data in an experiment or a research project, how we're going to develop the tools and methods that we're going to be using, and then how we're going to go about the actual sampling process. There's two main types of methods that are used. Again, there's a lot of different types within these two groups. It's a positivist methods and then interpretive methods. The first is gonna be the avenue where you start with a theory and then collect data based off of that to try to prove or disprove that theory. Then interpretive methods are gonna start with some data. You're gonna collect data and then develop or construct new theories based off of those findings. There's some key attributes that you're going to want to look at when it comes to research methods and the design of a study. With validity specifically in mind, you're going to look at internal validity to look to see if there are outside factors, outside variables that impact the outcome of a research experiment. This kind of bleeds into external validity to see if it is in fact consistent across different groups or different conditions or what really caused the changes in results. Is it the independent variable or is it something else entirely? Is it location? Is it the population size? It might vary. Construct validity is how accurate your tool of measurement, like a survey or an interview, is at measuring what you want to measure. For example, if you're trying to measure empathy, it's going to be pretty difficult. It's a little bit less accurate in general. It's a more difficult thing to measure than trying to get data on how many people are in someone's family, how many siblings they have, more of a numerical value. Finally, the statistical conclusion validity is going to take a look at the effectiveness of the methods that you used to collect the data that you came out with and the conclusions that you came to as a result of that data, making sure that the sample size was reasonable, that it wasn't too small, or that the distribution of data wasn't leaning or biased or outlying data didn't completely impact the results. So to improve the external validity that we were mentioning, there's a lot of different things that you can do or different methods of going about it. There isn't one right way. You can go with manipulation, where independent variables are altered to different degrees, so you can make sure that the thing that you are altering is in fact causing changes. Elimination or inclusion just makes everything even across the table. You can either choose to keep them constant throughout them so that, again, everything is the same across the board. Inclusion is different when, and as well, statistical control, you're going to acknowledge that those outside variables are a part of the experiment and then consider those in your results and try to be considerate of how those might affect your outcomes. Randomization is an attempt to make sure that there is no biases or too many outliers or leans in your sample size itself or sample group. So you're going to randomly disperse the people in attempts to hopefully even it out if there are other outlying factors. So there is no specific trend that isn't your independent variable. There's a lot of also popular research designs. We're looking at experimental studies, field surveys. Again, all of these can be either in laboratories, so in controlled spaces, or in field research where it's out in the real world. There's a lot of other factors that can be involved that you might not even notice. Secondary data analysis is when you're looking at data that's already been collected and then analyzing that again to come up with a new experiment or to come to new conclusions. Action research is looking at, again, real world issues out at the field more so to see how those impact systems and how to maybe create new interventions or solutions to issues. Case research and focus group research both I think of as collecting more in-depth and focused information on specific situations. So you're able to get a lot of information from usually a smaller group of people or more specific situation that could potentially apply to a wider scale of issues or issues in other places. Ethnography is also another interesting one where you have this cultural lens going into an experiment or study. It could be on the culture itself or getting immersed in that just gives you a better idea of how to go about collecting data and just getting a feel for how things are different across different cultures. When you're selecting all of these different things, what pieces you want to include and which ones you don't want to include, you're going to want to think about how comfortable you are with conducting certain types of research or how just practical it is, whether it be time, you might not have time to go take a trip somewhere and get immersed in someone's culture for weeks on end, or how much money you have, what type of research you pick and methods to get there might depend on what information you want, what sorts of conclusions or hypotheses you're trying to come to. Are you trying to get numbers? Or are you trying to get more anecdotal information and specific personal experiences to back up your claims? And finally, regardless of which methods you go with, it's good to mix up certain elements or pull different elements of different research methods into your work, collecting different kinds of data just so it can be more well-rounded. You have different types of evidence backing up not just one, but again, a variety. Also, if you're not sure where you want to go with your experiment yet, starting out with that or having a bunch of different types of data might make you see which trends are more obvious or which methods of data or which types of data work better to what you're trying to prove. And thank you for watching.